Okay, so I just want to get a roll call from the board members today as well. So if you are, our board members can state your name and say present.
James Bowens, present.
Are we doing roll call?
Jenny, take your mic off, Jenny. Jenny, unmute.
Sorry about that. Jenny Hatch, present. Do we need to start the meeting before roll call, though?
Mr. Jemison, thank you so much. And we're going to, because we don't have this gavel going here, I don't even know if we're videoing, but what we're going to do is
Call the meeting
to order. Thank you.
I called the meeting to order at 9 o'clock, but I can call it again at 9:04. Okay. Maybe I was muted. Okay. So we have Jenny Hatch. We have Mr. James Bowens. Any other advisory board members? And myself, Ron Jemison.
Mr. Officer and others are not here today, but we do have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Okay, so now I want to call on Miss Mary Winston for the advisory board training.
Good morning, advisory board members and everyone out there listening. Mary Winston, TDLR. Thank you all. I believe every one of the members has received training to conduct these meetings, and I want to just give a brief overview. This meeting is being conducted via video conference. The public is watching by live stream, and anyone who signed up to make public comments will have a chance to do so later in the meeting. It's also being recorded and will be available on our YouTube channel. Here are some tips that we need to adhere to make this a successful meeting. Please keep your microphones muted until you'd like to speak. Put all phones on silent and turn off any other sources of noise in your workspace. Please try to avoid fidgeting, moving around. I say at every meeting, I'm a hand talker, and with these backgrounds, your hands disappear kind of into the background, and it makes everyone look at you and not what's going on in the meeting. So if at all possible, try to avoid fidgeting around. State your name before you begin to speak, and raise your hand if you'd like to speak. Most of these platforms do have a raised hand feature, but our presiding officer is running the meeting. Our folks in the office and in the background are handling controls from there, and we don't want to miss anyone. So if we can just raise our hand so that it's visible on your camera feed, the presiding officer will call on you. All votes today would take place via roll call. So Anna will begin roll call the name of the member, and take the vote verbally. If you have any problems connecting during the meeting, try to let the presiding officer know. We have staff working in the office to assist with connectivity issues. Stay on camera during the meeting, even if you aren't speaking. If you need a recess, let the presiding officer know by raising your hand visibly on the camera, and I'm sure he'll grant that request. If you get inadvertently disconnected from the meeting, please rejoin using the same link you used to initially join the meeting. I will start counting up how many of these we've had by now. It's been several, and they're getting smoother. But this still remains a new method of communication for us. We know that we may have a few awkward moments, a few blips. If we do, no worries. We will deal with them in real time. We'll take a small recess if we need to. These things are anticipated and they're okay. We will adjust. We'll go through each agenda item and we'll take care of everything we need to act on today. I want to thank everyone for joining us today and participating. And I want to turn it back over to our presiding officer. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Winston. All right, well, we have a lot going on today. It's a great agenda. Looks like we have some people that we're going to honor today, which is awesome. Did the board members have the chance to read over the minutes? Okay. I asked for a approval of those minutes. Okay. So let's get a motion to approve the minutes.
I'm Jenny Hatch, and I move that we approve the minutes as they were given to us.
Okay, Anna, can you do the roll call, please? Or we can wait for a
Sorry, we
second.
need a second.
Okay,
Oh, I'm James Bowens. I second.
thank you.
Now I'll do a roll call.
Mhm.
James Bowens,
Present.
Jenny Hatch,
Present?
and presiding officer Ron Jemison.
Present.
The motion passes, sir.
Thank you. All right. So let's move on to agenda item E, which is the celebration of Mr. Louis G. Alaya. And let's call on Miss Mary Winston to present that. And also, it looks like we have Mr. David Gonzalez as well.
Thank you, Presiding Officer Jemison. Mary Winston here again with TDLR. Anna, could you tell us who we have present today from the Ayala family?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We have Melissa Frazier and Mr. Ayala as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Today we celebrate, as this says, some special moments. This is both an honor for us and a pleasure to do this for one of our licensees. Louis Ayala was born to a hardworking family in 1930 in Hartford City, Illinois. One of 14 children, Mr. Ayala and his family moved to Fort Worth when he was only 2 years old. At the age of 9, he had his own shoe shine business, traveling throughout the city, shining shoes at local banks, pharmacies, and hotels at the now famous historic stockyards. At that time, he charged 5 cents. Ever the young entrepreneur, Mr. Ayala, at age 12, had moved his shoe shine business into Jack Mead's barber shop, now charging 25 cents. 2 years later, Mr. Mead paid $100 for young Louis to attend the local barber school, going to high school during the day and attending barber school at night. Louis completed his training, passed the barber exam, and became a barber at the age of 15 in 1945. 15 months later, at the age of 17, he took the master barber exam, and in 1948, he opened his own barbershop, paying just $30 a month in rent. The customers of his barbershop have benefited greatly from Mr. Ayala. Networking, business deals, and recommendations have all taken place in Ayala's barbershop, and everyone is treated equally, regardless of social status, color, or creed. In the 1980s, Mr. Ayala became famous, not just in the town of Fort Worth, but also in Hollywood. A production company asked for his expertise in styling 1940s and 1950s hair for their films Breaking Home Ties, Pancho Barnes, Born on the 4th of July, JFK, and others. Mr. Ayala has styled hair for 5 generations of families in the Fort Worth area. He has volunteered to cut hair in nursing homes and for others who are unable to travel to his shop. His story was written several times in the Fort Worth Star Telegram and Texas Monthly. And in 2005, at the young age of 75, he received a certificate for being the second longest active barber in the state of Texas. Mr. Ayala turned 90 years old on July 21st of this year, and he continues to work part time out of his wife's salon in Fort Worth. Mr. Ayala has served this great state of Texas for 75 years. I want to end this with a quote from Mr. Ayala himself. You have to have pride in your work and love the trade. Today, TDLR celebrates Mr. Louis G. Ayala for his 90th birthday and 75 years as a barber. Thank you, Mr. Ayala's family members, for being here to help us celebrate this occasion. And I believe he's on listening as well. Happy birthday. Thank you for your service to Texans.
Hey, Mary and Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Collier. Do you mind if I chime in with a couple of words?
Definitely.
Please.
Today we are honored to have one of our commission members here with us, Ms. Helen Collier. And she wanted to be here for these celebrations. And thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer, for acknowledging her and allowing her to speak. Mr. Collier?
Please do, Ms. Collier.
Hi, how you doing, Mr. Chair?
All right. All right. Thank you. Go ahead.
Fantastic, thank you, Mr. Ayala and his family who's present. I mean, it is heartwarming for me to be here this morning to share a few minutes, on a life of service, a very long life of service, and that is huge, and still giving, and that means a lot to Fort Worth, and of course the state of Texas and all that you touch. I got to say that the grabbing hold of the entrepreneurial spirit as a young man, a very young man, and a teenager, contributes not only to his family but made a difference which he worked in which he still has his business along in his wife's salon. So here's what I know about barbers, is that it's not only the grooming, right? It's not only the grooming and making someone look fantastic when they leave and feel better, but you're also serving. And I thank you so much for being counselor, mentor, cheerleader, brother, on and on and on. And that's made a huge difference. So I thank you, Mr. Ayala, and thank you for continuing to give as well. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Anybody else would like to speak? All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Winston, for that great presentation.
Presiding Officer,
Go ahead, please.
I
Please.
see that we have Mr. Ayala himself, the legend,
Yes,
the man,
yes.
and he would like to say something.
Please do, sir.
I want to thank the board and for this honor, and believe me, 75 years. It's 75 years is a long time, but I enjoyed every day of it. And thank you very much, and God bless y'all.
Well,
Bless
thank
you.
you. Thank you for all that time, because you're very much inspiration for the youth that's coming up. Anybody that joins that long ago, man, 15.
Well, I hope my record, I don't think my record's going to be broken.
They don't make them like you anymore. Well, we appreciate you for doing that and your service to the community for so long in the state of Texas, for being very much a patriarch in this business and a legendary. And we appreciate you joining us today. Inspiration,
Thank you
man.
very much.
I still have some time to go.
All right. Have a good day. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Mhm.
Bye-bye.
All right. Okay. Man, that was great. Looks like we have another one. We have agenda item F, which is the celebration of life of Gloria Frazier of Frazier Barber College. Ms. Winston and Mr. Gonzalez, could you take over from here?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Jemison. Today we have the celebration of life of Mrs. Gloria Frazier of Frazier Barber College. Mrs. Frazier, a longtime barber and barbering instructor in Houston, passed away this year on August 11th. Mrs. Frazier graduated from the Tyler Barber School, Barber College, and became a licensed barber in 1966, working for several shops, including Norris of Houston, for many years. After retiring from Norris of Houston, she went on to start several shops of her own. Frazier's Barbershop. Not one to sit still and believing she had knowledge to share, Mrs. Frazier became an instructor and teacher at Southeast Barber College and Jay's Barber College. In 1999, she took a huge step and started her own barber college, Frazier's Barber College, educating hundreds of students, including one student who became one of TDLR's inspectors following his instruction from Mrs. Frazier. According to her family, Mrs. Frazier loved what she did and she passed doing what she loved, which was being a barber, an instructor, and a barber college owner. TDLR's executive director, Brian Francis, released this statement regarding Mrs. Frazier. What a loss to the Texas barbering community. Mrs. Frazier was legendary for her devotion to her craft and to making sure that her students were well prepared for their professional barbering careers. I was honored to be able to meet her and spend some time with her. My heart goes out to her family and her many, many students. I don't know that we have anyone present from the Frazier family today, do we, Anna?
No, ma'am, not today. Unfortunately, their father passed away, and today is his funeral service.
So, a life, two lives well lived, and our hearts and our prayers are with the Frazier family at this time of loss. Such a close time frame to lose both parents. And the funeral is occurring today for the Frazier family. Again, thoughts and prayers are with him. And we have another wonderful member of the Barber community whose life we're celebrating. So, thank you.
If I may, Mr. Chair, and Mary, I'd like to make a couple of comments so we can make sure this is cements in history for Ms.
Yes.
Frazier. Commissioner Collier, from some of the comments and from students who have their own shops, who would say, she saved my life, right? She saved my life. She put me on the right path, and I'm successful because of her guidance and leading a successful barbershop in their own right. And that's huge caring, not only for the passion of making sure that folks are looking and feeling good, but that's an instillment in the love for the craft and as well as the true education. And for those of you who are educators, you know that to educate means to induce, to bring out what's there. And so she did a fantastic job with that. I want to say to the Frazier family, stories will be shared and they will be told, right? For many years to come. And on behalf of the TDLR Commission, I want to say thank you, and I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mary.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Collier, for those kind words. Yes, I can, Ron Jemison, presiding officer. I know that Ms. Frazier was an inspiration to me as well. Her school was right around the corner from Franklin Beauty School. So a lot of people would get us mixed up and call us Fraziers or Franklin. They would mix up some of the schools sometime because we were so close to each other. But we didn't have any barber schools at that time. But I just remember when it was so many young men that we sent that way and that we knew personally that graduated from her college. And they all said the same thing that you said, Commissioner Collier, that how she saved their lives, how they don't know where they will be without her, things of that nature. So very instrumental in the Houston and Texas community with people and with careers. And she was very instrumental to me. I used to ask questions about the barber schools and the textbooks and things of that nature, and she never closed the door or anything else to me. She always opened it up when I came through, and her family has always been close to our family as well. So it's a major loss to the industry, but I know that her family will keep this tradition alive and keep this thing going for a long time to carry. So I'm excited to be able to celebrate today, and of course, we thank TDLR for such a wonderful honor today. Does anybody else want to speak? Okay. All right. Well, we have, thank you, Ms. Winston, once again. We have agenda item G, which is the celebration of life of Juan Johnny Garcia. So I want to call on Ms. Winston and David Gonzalez to present that as well.
Thank you, Chair Jemison. Again, Mary Winston, TDLR. Item G, we want to celebrate the life of Juan Johnny Garcia of South Texas. A native of Robstown, Texas, Johnny Garcia was only 22 years old in 1970 when he bought his barbershop, Hamlin Salon. In the late 1970s, he purchased the South Texas Barber College, where he taught others his craft. Later, he developed the art of razor cutting, which he named dual razor concepts. Throughout his career, Mr. Garcia became a national champion and an international guest artist, training people all over the world. He was the first Mexican American to be named Barber of the Year for the United States. Mr. Garcia presented at hair shows in 37 states and across the globe, including Mexico, Italy, and Canada. Throughout his life, he had the pleasure of cutting the hair of 4 presidents and several governors, including Rick Perry and our current governor, Mr. Greg Abbott. He was also very active in politics as he continuously lobbied for the betterment of his industry that he so loved. Mr. Garcia cut and styled hair for over 50 years at his shop in Corpus Christi. And at the time of his death, he was licensed to cut hair in all 50 states as well as other countries. Today, in celebrating Juan Johnny Garcia, we want to thank him for his expertise, for bringing his craft to Texas, for creating new concepts for barbers. And I want to ask, I know we have some family members here today. I want to see if they have any words to finish out this celebration of life before turning over the microphone to, I'm sure, Commissioner Collier to give some wonderful, kind words.
Thank
Yes,
you,
and
Ms.
we
Wilson.
have Gloria Garcia, and we also have Christopher Garcia, his son. Gloria is his wife.
Good morning, and thank you so much for celebrating my husband. He was totally devoted to his job, to his students. We have had so many people honoring him, so many ex-students coming over and thanking us and telling us that he's going to be truly missed. And we know that with the outpour of the community, not only here, but within Texas. And Johnny would loved what he did. I know that he would have probably continued cutting hair till he was 90 also, if that was possible. I want to thank all of you for being kind to us and reaching out to us and reaching out to all our family members and acknowledging what he did. There's really not a lot to there's really too much to say about him that we could stay here forever and talk about it. But I want to thank you so much, and I want to give the boys the opportunity to say a little, if that's possible. And thank you once again for being there and for doing this for him. Okay. Thank you, and have a good day.
I'd like to say a few words. Thank y'all for everything. It's too hard to speak, so sorry.
Take your time. Commissioner, okay, Christopher?
But I enjoyed everything. I've been around y'all, the industry, my whole life. You know, a few of y'all used to be instructor at the school for 5 years, and me and my brothers, we have our own shop. And like I said, it's really hard to still speak about it. I'm very happy that y'all are doing this for him. It's just still real hard. But thank y'all for everything, and you'll be seeing us. We'll be up there. We're gonna keep the legacy going in the Garcia family. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for being strong. And I know it's not an easy time for any of you, but we definitely thank you for getting on and saying a few words on behalf. Father was a great man, and we know that we have no doubt that you're going to take it by the horns and carry this legacy on. Commissioner Collier, or was it another brother? I'm sorry.
Is Mike? I don't know. I don't know if the rest of them, one of them is probably offshore, so he can't see it. Bianca had an accident, so
Okay.
just again, in their behalf, the boys have been involved in the hair industry forever. My daughter is pursuing that career too, and again, thank you so much. We were blessed with my husband, and I know that he's looking down on us and
Yes.
he's going to pray for us.
Yes,
Thank you
he
so
is.
much.
All
God
right.
bless.
Thank you. Commissioner?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To the Garcia family, I appreciate you guys being here today. This is Commissioner Collier. Um, when a young man, has a passion and a dream, such as Mr. Garcia did when he was a teenager, watch out. That's all I got to say is watch out, because that dream goes into the ground, and it's a seed, and we know that this seed grew up to be a mighty oak tree that covered thousands, thousands, and made a difference through his teaching, made a difference through the customers that he served, and of course, we know that many more are being touched by your sons and those that are in profession right now. So again, when a young man has a passion and a dream and goes after it, that's my service for Texas. And I thank you for being here today and appreciate the service that Mr. Garcia, provided to the state of Texas. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you all. Ron Jemison, presiding officer, and I just remember Johnny always giving me a thumbs up when he would come to the meetings, and his support. He would talk to me about the history. It was like he was another father for me, and I got chills as I'm sitting here listening to you guys speak, because it's similar history. And whenever I see families that their business is passing down to their kids, or their kids are willing to step up and take that path as well, it touches me as well. So, salute to you guys. He was awesome. He was awesome. And to do it for that long and passion, that's the stuff that we can't let die. It's that passion that we have for this business and that we instill in others. And so this is one of the reasons why I'm on the board is the passion and that dedication that I saw you guys do before us. And we want to carry that on. So Christopher, and to your brothers and sisters, salute. And anything we can do, anything you need from any of us, feel free to reach out. And to his wonderful bride, salute you as well. Very strong woman. And it's going to be all right. It's going to be okay. All right. Thank y'all. Okay. So, all right. Agenda H. We have, wow, wait a minute. Let me look. I had to read it again. I think her name is Elizabeth. Elizabeth is leaving? All right. Miss Winston and David Gonzalez, take it away. I won't spoil it.
So hopefully y'all can hear me. Good afternoon, presiding officer, board members, and the public. You read it right. A fixture at TDLR for so many years, Elizabeth Bibi Perez, is scheduled to retire. Actually, she's already left us. She snuck it in between our last advisory board meeting and the one that we're having now. And a lot has happened since then. So this part of the agenda is dedicated to celebrating the service of TDLR employees. Every couple of years, y'all already know, the legislature gets together and they may transfer programs to us. There's no doubt we're going to get the job done. But there's something important to note, is that it doesn't happen without the people. I guarantee Brian would have made sure that we took care of the barber and cosmetology programs when they were sent to us, but it would not have gone as smoothly. We would not have had the insight unless we had people like Bibi Perez guiding us, holding our hands, educating us on the history. That historical knowledge is so important to making sure we get things right and that we don't repeat the mistakes of the past. It's difficult and foolish if we were to move forward without their input. BB's always been willing to speak truth to power. She's always been kind enough to hold our hand and educate us as newbies to the barber industry and the cosmetology industry. Whether we were at the Armstrong McCall Hair Show or the Beauty Cultural League in Beaumont, and I remember those shows vividly because she was the one teaching me what I should be doing and what our staff were supposed to be doing while we were there. BB was there to educate us and provide us guidance. So, Miss Anna, if you would show just a few of our PowerPoint slides that we have to share with BB and the public. So you'll notice, I'm not sure if y'all can see the print, it says a lifetime of loyal service started in 1977. That is just crazy. Sticking in the industry, the regulatory industry. Now, this is prior to coming to TDLR. Elizabeth Perez dedicated service to the state since 1977, and she deserves this recognition. Hopefully, she's going to be enjoying her time in Mexico. I understand she has vacation home there in Mexico and spending time with her family. I know she values it greatly. If you could move to the next slide, Ms. Anna. We have invited some of her friends and peers to provide comment to us in a little bit, but I wanted you to see the smiles that you had with people that were surrounding you. BB, you were always really providing us the laughter and the excitement. You know, we have a hard job to do, and regulation isn't really exciting sometimes, but you see smiles in these pictures because you made the passion that you had and the things that you did and brought to the table made it easier for us to get our job done and enjoy what we're doing it. Next slide, please, Pasana. So retirement is not the end of the road, it's the beginning of the open highway. Hopefully you'll have lots of time on the open highway, maybe going to do some gambling in Louisiana if you have some time to go out there. I know that was something that you enjoyed doing. We really appreciate the time that you spent, and we really appreciate that your family, who we got one some family member there sitting with you in a picture. We know we stole you away from your family for years, and so we thank you for the time that they gave us and all the service that you gave us. Next slide, Ms. Anna. And just a big photo of all of your TDR family there, or a big group of our TDR family. And one more slide, Ms. Anna. So we have a parting gift for BB, and because of COVID, couldn't pick it up in person. They're going to be shipping it to us. You saw a flag there. That's an image of a flag that will be flown over the state capitol in your honor, BB. It will come in a nice, hopefully you can see this box. I'm going to try to bring it up here where you can see it. Maybe not. It's a box embossed with the Texas House of Representatives and a state seal. So you will be getting that soon. I'm going to have to come find you. Maybe I go visit you in Mexico. Also, it will contain a certificate that certifies that this flag herewith presented to Elizabeth BB Perez by TDLR and the House of Representatives was flown at the Capitol of the sovereign state of Texas in appreciation of services to the state of Texas. So that's going to be an honor, and I look forward to giving that to you. Like I said, the shipping that they have now, Capitol, doesn't allow for me to in person. Otherwise, I already have it at your doorstep, Ms. Beebe. But I wanted to tell you thank you. And we're going to give an opportunity for some of your peers to give you thank you as well. But there's kind of a surprise mixed in here because there was a late breaking news. And Anna, if you could bring up the rest of the PowerPoint slide, if you wouldn't mind. So BB, I know when you came over to TDLR, you had Margie as your partner in crime, helping with the barber program. And we had some staff come over as part of the Cosmetology Commission, including one Marinella LaFleur. And I know that later when she got her chops wet in the Education Examination Division, she ended up coming over to RPM and being your partner in crime, as I referred to it, and helped me learn again about the barber and cosmetology industry. This is a guy that came from the construction background. She has also announced her retirement. So we're having some pretty big withdrawal symptoms right now at TDLR. And she tried to do a quick pitch. In softball, they have something that's called a quick pitch, where the batter's trying to get into the batter box and the pitcher will pitch the ball before they're set so they can get a strike by them. Marinella was thinking she was going to be able to do a quick pitch and get out of here without some recognition, but not going to let that happen, at least not on my watch. And I just want to make sure that y'all know that Marinella LaFleur has also announced her retirement. That's going to be effective October 15th. So she's still in-house and expected to give her reports later today. I'm having difficulty keeping the tears back, and I'm trying to keep it short. It's hard for me to do. But Marinella has dedicated her service since 1990. I can't tell you how much I looked forward to our weekly meetings where she would brief me on the Bar-Cause programs. And again, holding my hand, teach me about the programs, and being such a great representative alongside BB to make sure that our agency was well represented. So Marinella, this is a surprise to you. You too will be receiving a flag that has been flown over the state of Texas in your honor for service to the state of Texas. And with that, I would like to turn it over to Mr. Lee Parham so that we can honor these TDLR employees.
Okay. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
We
Okay,
can.
perfect. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. I am Lee Parham. I'm the Deputy Director in the Regulatory Program Management Division. And BB, since we broke the news, David broke the news of Marinella also retiring. I want to thank both of you at the same time. BB and Marinella, you were hired at TDLR in 2005 during the transfer of the Barber Board and Cosmetology Commission. I truly actually want to thank both of these ladies for introducing the agency and me to hair shows. Okay. I came from a well drilling and boxing background. So it was wonderful. And for teaching us all about the barber and cosmetology industries. Yeah, both of you helped make it fun to go to work. And I personally want to thank you both for your patience and understanding when it came to tutoring and helping me learn these industries. You answered all my questions and gave me insight on barbering and cosmetology. It's been a great ride. So congratulations, BB. Congratulations, Marinella, and have a wonderful retirement, both of you.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, David. Ms. Perez. Wait a minute, hold on, Ms. Perez. Hold your horse, Ms. Perez. Miss Commissioner Colley, did you want to say any words?
Just thank you, Mr. Chair. Just for this is Commissioner Collier for Elizabeth. Thank you 10,000% for your service over too many years that I can count right now. I mean, your effort and due diligence when the program transferred over was huge. Contribution to TDLR as well as for supporting of course the licensees and making a difference for Texans. So on behalf of the commission, thank you for your years of service. Feel free to continue to drop any nuggets as you're enjoying yourself in your next transition and phase of life. So thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Do we have any staff members, Mr. Lee?
Yes, Mr. Chairman,
David.
we have some staff members in the lobby that would also like to share their sentiments with BB and Marinella.
I see Marinella popped up. Anybody want to chime in?
Mr. Chairman, can you
Yes.
hear me? This is Brad Bowman.
All right, Brad.
Good morning, everyone. This is Brad Bowman. I'm the general counsel here at TDLR. And I wanted to say congratulations, BB and Marinella, on your retirement. I hope you really enjoyed this time in your life. And it's been great working with both of you. I haven't had a chance to work with you closely in a while, but when both the barbering and the cosmetology programs first came over to TDLR, I was the attorney assigned to help write the rules and to work with those programs. And I just want to echo what David and Lee were saying about your insight into those into the industry, and it helped me tremendously. They don't teach you a lot about barbering in law school, and so I didn't know very much about it. And you really gave that insight and not just helped me in terms of writing the rules. And BB, I know you had a big hand in the sanitation rules in particular. And I think, your legacy is making the regulation of this program better, making us better as an agency at TDLR during that important time while the program was transferring over and transitioning over. And Marinella, thank you for your kindness and your patience with me. I remember one time that you set up a wax pot in the office and had me dip my hand in a vat of paraffin wax so you could show me how that worked, and just so I could understand what we're talking about. And just things like that really helped both my understanding and helped us as an agency be better in terms of regulating this program. So thank you both, and best wishes to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Anyone want to chime in? Do we have anybody else out there?
Hi, Mr. Chairman. It's Steve Bruno. I'm the Government Relations Officer.
All right.
If I could, just for a moment, I definitely wanted to say a couple words about my good friends and my coworkers, both BB and Marinella. Everything that David said at the beginning rings so true for me. When I first got to TDLR, I knew that I had gotten haircuts for most of my life, and like most people, I did not understand the important differences and all the subtleties in this program. Anytime I had a question, whether it was a constituent, somebody who maybe had called over to their state rep or their state senator, or if we were working on anything during the legislative session, I called on BB and Marinella quite often. And they were always very patient and very kind with me. And as I said at the beginning, I wanted to say a special word, not just to my coworkers, to my friends. That's what's part of so great about being with the TDLR family, is that we're not just coworkers. And I wish.
Did it go out?
Yes, Mary Winston here. This is one of those minor blips. There he is. He's back. Without sound.
Steve, you went out for a minute. It's okay. All right. Is that Letty that wants to speak? Is that what I'm seeing?
Chair Jemison, may I speak?
Please. Who is that, Eric?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Eric Beverly, Government Relations Officer for TDLR. BB and Marinella, I want to thank you both for your many years of service to the people of Texas. BB since 1977 and Marinella since 1990. With both of you coming to TDLR in 2005, your work and your legacy is the improved health and safety of countless Texans. You have changed and improved so many lives. When I joined TDLR nearly 4 years ago, I quickly learned that if I had a question about barbering, that I needed to reach out to BB and Marinella. I have come to rely on their unique perspectives, their vast experience, and their insights into this profession. I'm going to greatly miss both of you, my friends, and I wish you both long, happy, and healthy retirements. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Very good. Thank you, Eric.
Mr. Chairman.
Who we have, Ray?
Go ahead,
Mr.
Letty.
Rosario?
I think Letty is here goes first. Go ahead, Letty.
All right, Ms. Letty.
Thank you, Ray. Good morning, everyone. BB and Marinella, congratulations on your retirement. Thank you for your inspiration, motivation, all the knowledge that you brought to the barber and cosmetology programs. So well deserved on your retirement. BB, there are so many memories for both of you, but BB, here's one that really stood out. One time, I was with you and Margie at a Dallas show, and Margie was driving, and she ended up going the wrong way. We had the monorail coming our way, and she realized it real quick. She made a U-turn. You can imagine how I was in the back, just like popcorn, popping out, freaking out, and you were in the front, just as cool as can be. or frozen maybe. But that's one that I remember clearly, as far as a good time. Marinella, there's so many memories. Our division, back then had eight staff. And of course now we're so big. And every now and then we put a little prank on each other. We worked hard, but we had a little prank on each other. And I don't know who did it. It was a prank on you. I don't know who did it, but it was funny. I don't know if you remember, but you lifted up your cabinet and all this confetti went all over the counter. And of course you were mad, but quickly, anyway, we started laughing right after. Anyway, so that's one of many that I remember. And of course we cleaned it up too. And that's all I've got. Again, thank you for everything. And congratulations on your retirement, Bibi and Marinella. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Ray Pizarro, Director for the Education Examination Division. Congratulations, Bibi. Congratulations, Marinella. It's been a long road. I'm going to miss you guys in those meetings when I come up with some, I think they're bright ideas and you guys tell me, no, we can't do that. It's just great insight and great to know the history, as David was saying, because without that history, we would be making some wrong decisions and some wrong changes, and you guys were always there to prevent that from happening. And you guys had a strong will, and you stood your ground, and I'm really proud of that you guys are able to fight those challenges. And as Letty said, there's all kinds of fun things that we've done as well. And Marinella remembers some of those, as the snowball fights, and those were really fun. And we had a great time. It was really good to have worked with both of you, from the offices, even to the outreach that we've done out with the schools. I think the industry is going to miss you guys. They've always knew you all, and we just stood there like we didn't know anybody, and they just came up to Bibi and Marinella, hey guys, kind of like they were brothers and sisters for 40 some years with all of the industry. So that's huge for them to know you that well and respect you as individuals and as leaders in this agency. So congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
If I may, Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Collier.
Please.
So Marinella, congratulations on the service that you provided to the agency and to the licensees and to Texas, and most of the folks know at the agency that I like to visit some of either the barber colleges or some of the barbers locations, and because I wanted to see it real time and feel it and be able to hear what's been going on. And so when I would come up with some ideas, and Ray may know of one or two, it says, hey, let me see what Marinella says about this. Oh, hey, let me check on Marinella. So that speaks volumes, right? That speaks volumes because that's a respect of your touch in the industry, your knowledge in the industry, and your love for the industry as well. And so I appreciate that, and thank you so much for your service. Best wishes as you go forward. And I do ask that you maybe leave some buttons, that way I can put it on, when you're going in. So show your faces, your Elizabeth faces when you go forth. So enjoy and Godspeed.
Mr. Chair, if I could speak, please. I'm going to try to get through this. You two, Bibi and Marinella, you two have been my go-to folks since I started here at TDLR. I always knew that if I needed any help with barbering or cosmetology, you were the two ladies that I would go to. So I wish you nothing but love and health and so much in your retirement. I'm going to miss traveling with you two. We have our own little special memories of the three of us, riding around in a car and Bibi rolling down the window and saying things to people, or Marinella taking me on long walks where we just talk about life and look for sharks. I am going to miss that tremendously. I'm going to miss you both so much. You two have made a huge impact on my growth here at TDLR, and I'm forever grateful for that. And I love you both, and God bless you both, and I wish you nothing but happiness. Go do tons of fun things, and just be well. Thanks.
Rebecca.
Very good stuff.
I'd like to say something.
Yes, Tanya.
My name is Tanya Guthrow, Director of Field Inspections, and I want to express my appreciation for both of you ladies. You know, when the field inspectors are out in the field and there's always something new to see, something that is just brand new on the scene, you are always available to them. And I know that, you know, having 30 different people give you a call and ask you questions here and there could be challenging, but you're so appreciated. I know that they could always rely on you guys to help them understand the ins and outs of both the barber and the cosmetology program. Thank you so much for your service. We will miss you.
Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you.
I know Ms. Perez has some things to say to us today. We can't let you go without saying a few words. Is that correct?
Well, actually, lost words. Oh, it's been a fun ride. I enjoyed every minute of it. I can remember day one, starting with the Cosmetology Commission, and just remember when you were just a little boy.
Okay.
So yeah, I've enjoyed it, and I think it was just time to bow out and say, I'm not getting any younger, definitely. So it was a good ride. I enjoyed it. Love the people I worked with. I want to give for David and Lee, who I think were exceptional bosses, and they were mostly who we were under at TDLR, and they were always, we had questions for them. I know they let us go out on a limb a little, but they had the confidence in us that we knew what we were doing, and we knew what we were doing. So we were good.
Very good stuff. You're going to be very much missed. I know that. Where did you get BB from? What is that nickname? Is that a nickname or is that your middle name? BB.
Nickname. My brother, when my name is Elizabeth, so when he didn't say that when he was little, so he started calling me BB. And I have a sister named Pebbles and another sister named Rocky.
Well,
we're into minerals, I guess.
it sure worked because it caught on. It's very rare that you see somebody, we use your nickname in a profession, but it caught on and it spread throughout Texas. And so we know to call you Ms. Perez, but of course BB is a little bit personal. So you definitely will be missed for calling up there and answering the questions that we have on the fly, especially some of the questions that are, I guess no question is dumb, but some of the questions are like, wait a minute, did he really call me and ask me that question? But you're always there. You and Marinella are always there to answer those questions for us and have been very instrumental to TDLR, I'm sure, because TCC, y'all knew that by the back of your hands. So to come over and to be transferred over and to be able to lend helping hands to the new organization that took over, man, that was incredible. And I don't know if they could have done it without you. So I know they could. So it was a great thing. Miss Marinella, you snuck one on us, huh?
I did. And it was a very hard choice to make. I'm very emotional about it, but I just want to say I really had the industry, in my heart, and I still will. I've worked with some really good people at TDLR, and I worked with some really good people at TCC, and so it's a tough decision, but I think they'll find that right person to replace us. And like it was time for me because I knew there was going to be a change, and so I felt like they needed someone else to help make that change. So I thank y'all. Thank y'all for all the kind words. I thought I could do this without crying, but I don't think I can. It's just it's tough, and so I will miss quite a few of y'all. I'll still be out there for the industry. I've not letting go. Thank you, guys.
No, thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Ms. Jenny? Please.
Okay. I was just coming to terms with the fact that we weren't going to have BB anymore. I have to say, Marinella, I'm not okay with this.
I know.
Just want to go on the record there, but I do wish you both all the best, and I don't blame you at all. But the industry has benefited so much from both of you, and it's not going to be as much fun without you. And who's going to put up with me the way you guys do? Just thank you. Thank you for everything, Phoebe and Monica. I'll miss you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, yes. Ron Jemison, presiding officer. And man, our first meeting virtual. I didn't know it was going to be like this.
I know.
Threw some on us, man. Y'all threw a lot on us today, right? We already have a lot of changes going on in the world, huh?
Our chairman, David Gonzalez,
Please.
our hearts are full.
Yes.
It should make the rest of our work easier to get through today.
There you go. Thanks for summing that up, Dave. All right. Well, before we go on, does anybody else would like to speak? Okay. All right. Well, we heard a lot of great things today. Man, those two, wow, it's amazing. It's like a pillar of TDR almost. They've been there for so long. But great people, y'all are great people, and you will be missed. And it's like y'all are my aunties or something, right? And you already kind of, I thought you were almost telling my age, but then you kind of told your age, Ms. Perez, when you were saying I was a little boy. I was like, well, man, okay, all right, I got it. But man, I just remember my parents calling y'all name all the time. So I just started doing the same thing. I said, give me the phone number so I can know who to call. Just call BB, just call Marinella, they'll tell you. I said, okay, all right. So it made it easier for me to come in because y'all raised me as well. So I appreciate your time. And man, go enjoy this new world that we're in. You know, you got to live through a lot. So now you can enjoy. You've worked so long and put in so much work. I know this, you know, when you hear students say names of staff members at TDLR, that's very interesting because a lot of times they don't know who the people, they don't know names of everybody, but to know the names, that lets me know that y'all are out there in the trenches and that y'all put face to name. And it also tells about the type of person you guys are because, you know, when we're on the phone speaking to somebody, you know, if you give them your all, you can feel that. And so we can feel the love and passion that you guys have through the phone. And that's amazing. So we really appreciate y'all's support and your work and your efforts for so long and have definitely molded me for sure because I didn't know which one to go a lot of times and y'all definitely put me back in line. So I really appreciate that. I know our board appreciates you and all the licensees out there and the students that are actually in school now. And so we thank you very much. Next up on the agenda, we have public comment. And I'm gonna ask Ms. Anna to come back on the mic for a little bit and read about, give us the instructions of public comment again. And then also, then you can let us know who's here for public comment today. Okay, thank you.
Of course, sir. So we have two people who gave public comment for today's advisory board meeting. One was a written public comment, which was sent to the board on Friday. Today's Monday. We also have Lily Benitez on the meeting today. She will be giving public comment. Ms. Benitez has given public comment before. She's very familiar with how our meetings run. She will have 3 minutes to give her public comment. The board is not allowed to make a comment to her or ask any questions regarding her comment as it's not on the agenda. Are you ready for her to begin, sir?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Anna. Ron Jemison, presiding officer. We have two, but one was emailed. And so we're going to listen to Ms. Lily Benitez today.
Go ahead, Ms. Benitez.
Hi, good morning. This is Lily Benitez from Dallas, Texas, director of Fleetcraft Barber Academy, and I'm so happy to see all of your faces, especially during this pandemic. So happy to see that you guys are well. The points for my public comment are to address the Sunset Advisory Committee's recommendations. Please ignore my cat in the background. But the first thing I wanted to address is the sunset recommendations. One of them was to get rid of the WIG and educator licenses, which I thought was a little insensitive to combine two things together that are kind of not related. So the master educator, the instructor license is very important to maintaining the history of the history and the standards of what barbering is today. For example, I myself did not go to college, and I really needed that master educator program to be able to understand the differences between teaching people and then versus barbering, because barbering is more of a technical and one-on-one interaction, where teaching other people requires understanding pedagogy, different learning styles, lesson plans, the different changes in laws and legislations, and preparing the students to be able to do that. Especially in a pandemic, I don't think it's a very good idea to teach more people how to interact with the public and the masses without knowing what the safety requirements and precautions, laws, and regulations are. So I'm against that recommendation. The other recommendation that the Sunset Committee made was to combine the cosmetology and barbering licenses. They kind of said that it meant something else, but I wanted to address it. We've just had both programs reduced by a third, and we have not, and it also has been during a pandemic, so we haven't even seen the repercussions of what reducing the programs by a third, what the repercussions will be to date. The other thing that I did want to address is something that's a little bit more pressing, I would say. So students are still coming to school, and they are still gaining their hours, and they are still taking their written exams, and they are still taking their practical exams. One of the delays that we've been having is in them receiving their actual licenses in the mail. And I was wondering if there was a way that maybe a PDF could be mailed to them, or I've also suggested in the past to reduce the potential of somebody just faking a license, to potentially print like on a driver's license, like some kind of peace officers have it. You can go to the driver's license place and they add it on your physical driver's license. So maybe if it's my driver's license, it would say Class A barber on the top of it or back of it somehow. So that would be something that we could look at in the future to prevent copying of it or delays and it being backed up at TDLR. So those are my three major topics for today. I thank you so much for your time, and have a wonderful day.
All right. Thank you, Miss Lily Benitez. 3. It's like you had a stopwatch up there.
I did.
Thank you for those comments.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Well, looks like we're going to come to staff reports, item J. And we would like to call up, I would like to call up Miss Yvonne Lopez from Licensing Division.
I just want to say real quick, can we get a break at some point? I'm going to need a break like in the next 15 minutes or so.
You know what? Very good, Miss Jenny. Well, let's not wait. Let's go ahead and take a break now before I call up Miss Yvonne Lopez. So Yvonne, I'm gonna get 10 minutes, maybe, or do y'all want 15? 15? Okay. All right. It's 10:07. So let's break for 15 minutes, and my math is not good. Help me out, Miss Anna. We return back at what?
10:22.
10:22. Thank you. I was going to ask one of my kids, but Anna, you're right on the point all the time. So I thank you for that. So let's go ahead and break till 10:22. We'll see everybody back at that time. presiding officer. I call the meeting back at 10:22 a.m. Bing.
It's like we're still missing Mr. Bowens. Oh, there he is. Okay.
Okay, Ms. Bowens. Okay. So just to let everyone know, we do have another advisory board member present, Mr. Ronald Weathers. Right now, at this time, we cannot see his screen or hear him. So I just wanted to let the public know that another advisory board member is present, which is Mr. Ron Weathers. Okay. As soon as we get him back, as soon as we get him online, we'll let everybody know again. Okay. So we call the meeting back at 10:22 a.m. Welcome everybody back from their 15-minute break. This is the October 5th Barber Advisory Board meeting, our first virtual meeting this year since the pandemic. So welcome back. Let's go ahead and proceed with the following. We're going to do our staff reports. And so agenda item J, we would like to call Ms. Yvonne Lopez.
Thank you, Chairman Jemison. Good morning, board members. Yvonne Lopez, I'll be providing the licensing division statistics and reports. As you'll see, I've got some personnel updates. I've currently got 2 vacancies for our license and permit specialists. We have recently posted a position for our division, and I believe I'll be able to hire at least one for one of those vacancies. So hopefully we'll get someone on board pretty soon and trained so that we can get them processing applications. And then there you'll see the statistics are next. I've got them divided by the instructors, the Class A barbers, the specialty licenses, student permit, shop licenses, school licenses, and then the entire barber industry. And that's all for my report. Does anyone have questions for me?
Ron Jemison, presiding officer. Any of our board members have any questions? All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Lopez.
Thank you.
Okay. We also want to call up Ms. Jacqueline Rush with Customer Service Division.
Good morning, board members. This is Jacqueline Rush, manager with Customer Service. Before you, what you see are statistics related to our entire fiscal year of 2020. You'll see the number of phone calls and emails we received monthly in fiscal year of 2020. We were also asked to provide the number of COVID-19 related contacts generally throughout the agency. So those are also available there for you. If you have any questions on the kinds of calls or emails we're receiving, I'll be happy to take any questions.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Rush. Are there any questions from the board for Ms. Rush in regards to calls? Please, Ms. Jenny.
I just have one question. This is Jenny Hatch. So you said this isn't just for barbering.
Correct. That's agency-wide. Mm-hmm.
It's not bad. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Ms. Rush, Ron Jemison, presiding officer. I did have one question. So I'm pretty sure, well, it's a question, so let me ask it like I say it. A lot of calls about opening up in regards to, are there a lot of calls still today about opening up and doing face-to-face content?
Not as many as there were. As you can see, even during the months where businesses couldn't operate, our call volume was still very high. And the COVID-related calls that we received, the highest number of them were in March and April and May. We still will get an occasional call, but not as many.
Okay.
The calls that we're getting now are very much the kind of routine calls that we got before COVID. license and renewal information instructions, questions about general laws and rules not related to COVID necessarily.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else? I'm looking. You saw me look to the side? I just looked to the side. I went like that. I was looking for Jenny over here to the right and Michelle to the left, right? And Ron to the right and James to the left. Wow. That's amazing. See what the virtual did? It made me feel like I was on the podium. It's all right. Well, thanks a lot, Ms. Rush. All right. Let's move on to Enforcement Division. Ms. Rebecca Bocalter. Take it away.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Good. This is Rebecca Burkhalter. I'm a prosecutor for the Enforcement Division. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Just making sure I'm coming through. I'm a prosecutor for the Enforcement Division. I'll present enforcement's report to you today. The first thing we're going to do is do the personnel updates. So we have some long-time TDLR folks that are leaving the agency for a well-earned retirement. In addition to BB and Marinella that we've already talked about, those two individuals are in the Regulatory Program Management Division. So they're not enforcement, so they're not mentioned in my list here. But on August 31st, our investigations manager, Greg Dodson, retired after 22 years of service with TDLR. He oversaw our investigations section within the Enforcement Division, which includes 42 investigators. On August 31st, the prosecution legal assistant manager, Daryl Coons, retired after 18 years of service with TDLR. He oversaw the prosecution legal assistant section, which includes assistants. And on August 3rd, senior investigator Esmer Arguello retired after 21 years of service with TDLR. She conducted dozens of cases in the building, mechanical, water well, and property tax programs. So we wish those folks well in their well-earned retirement. We also had some promotions. As you may know, Ron was promoted to Division Director, Ron Foster. So to fill his place on March 1st, John Medlock was promoted to Chief Prosecutor. John Medlock has worked for TDLR for 7 years, previously serving as a prosecutor and a senior prosecutor. On May 1st, Trevor Thielen was promoted to Senior Prosecutor. He's worked for TDLR for 9 years as a prosecutor in enforcement. On February 15th, Jackie Revilla was promoted to Legal Assistant Supervisor. She's been working for TDLR for 18 years. And here's the fun fact that's not in your materials, guys. Jackie Revilla actually got promoted recently to replace Daryl as the Legal Assistant Manager. So she has another promotion that's not featured in your written materials. So we'd like to congratulate everybody on their retirement and on the promotions that happened. And now let me go to the statistics for the Barber program. For fiscal year 2020, which ended on September 1st, 2019, on August 31st, 2020, the department opened 726 cases and we resolved 697. The average time to close was about 112 days. Almost 78% of the cases were resolved within 6 months. However, 21.13% of the department's barber cases resulted in disciplinary action compared to 13.48% of cases agency-wide that resulted in disciplinary action. I've mentioned the disciplinary actions, and the chart called case outcomes, which is at the bottom of the page on page 10 of the written materials, breaks down what that term means a little bit more clearly. First, we have the commission orders. Just as a fair reminder, the commission orders happen when a respondent requests a hearing. The hearing is held at the State Office of Administrative Hearings. There is a proposal for decision issued by an administrative law judge, and then the commission rules on the proposal for decision and finds either there was or was not a violation. We only had one commission order in all of 2020. I discussed that one in our last meeting that we had on February 10th, so I won't be talking about it today. There were 46 default orders This occurs when a prosecutor issues a notice of alleged violation and the respondent does not respond to the paperwork, and we default them for the full penalty. So if I have any barbers watching the advisory board meeting today, this is a reminder to please keep your mailing address updated so that this doesn't happen to you, because that's the address that we usually use. We had 88 agreed orders in 2020. These come about if we issue the notice of alleged violation and basically we settle the case. So the respondent accepts responsibility for the violation. So another reminder to our licensees is that if you receive one of these, the enforcement division's goal is always compliance. Please reach out to the prosecutor and their assigned legal assistant. A lot of times, if you can show that you've corrected items or that you can come into compliance, we may be able to adjust that penalty for you. You can see that we assessed $18,175 in penalties, and we have collected a total of $105,025 of those. We revoked 3 licenses due to disciplinary actions. There were no license suspensions, and 22 licenses have been revoked or denied due to criminal history disqualification. We issued 10 cease and desist orders, which we used to stop an individual from conducting illegal business or unlicensed activity. And we also informally resolved 543 cases. This can mean a number of things, like the case was closed, a licensee came into compliance by renewing an expired license, or they fixed an item with their shop, and so we closed the case. Let's look at page 11 now, which includes at the top alleged violations at opening. This is what the case was alleging when the disciplinary case was opened. The case can be opened for any potential violation. So I believe the middle chart on that page is more helpful. These are the violations that actually resulted in disciplinary action. So the top 10 most common reasons for disciplinary action in the barber program: the shop employed an unlicensed barber. That's one of the highest. We had 65 of those. No barber's license for the individual himself. Criminal activity, no shop license, failure to cooperate with the department, failure to comply with the prior order, implements not properly cleaned, or other sanitation violations. And then there's some school issues too. So unless I have any questions, I'd like to go on to the case highlights. Okay, the first case I have to highlight for you guys is State Barber School, LLC, doing business as State Barber School. We did an agreed order on this case where the barber school accepted liability for failing to obtain a student permit for a student, failing to present the student's attendance records for inspection, and 6 instances of failing to submit the student's withdrawal or termination to the department in a timely manner. State Barber School has agreed to pay an administrative penalty of $2,650. They're making payments towards compliance with that order. Juan Martin Ramon, aka Martin Ramon, doing business as Underground Cuts Barbershop. The executive director granted the department's motion for default on this case, so we obtained a default order. He was assessed an administrative penalty of $6,000 for 2 instances of having an unlicensed barbershop and 2 instances of hiring unlicensed barbers. Mr. Ramon has not complied with this order. Jose Alfredo de Anda, DBA Gallofino Barbershop. This is another agreed order. Mr. de Anda accepted liability, refusing to cooperate with the inspection, and 4 instances of employing unlicensed barbers. He was assessed an administrative penalty of $3,750. He's making payments. Andy Garcia is the next case. This was another default order. He was assessed a classic administrative penalty of $1,500 for being an unlicensed barber. He has not complied with that order. David Perez, doing business as TDK. We signed an agreed order that finalized the settlement agreement. TDK is a dual barbershop and cosmetology salon. As part of the negotiated settlement, the owner, David Perez, accepted liability for employing an unlicensed barber. because this is not Mr. Perez's first violation. He was assessed an administrative penalty of $2,625. There's another paragraph that describes how this is not Mr. Perez's first enforcement action with the department, and that's the subsequent actions do increase the penalties. The last item on the agenda, I believe, is to tell you about the enforcement prosecution team. And good news, you're stuck with us. It's the same people. It's myself, Prosecutor Chris Funderburg, Prosecutor Victoria Meza, Prosecutor Morgan Cumming. The inspection cases are handled by the same team of ladies as well. Amanda Barrera, Natalie Olvera, and Arusa Nizami are handling the inspection cases. So I'm available for questions if you guys have any questions about anything I've presented.
Thank you, Ms. Rebecca. Any questions?
Presiding Officer Jemison, before we move on to questions, Mary Winston, we've had so much movement and growth in the enforcement division. It's one thing I love about the agency. And we forgot to mention one person, and we wanted to make sure we acknowledge everyone. And we may have forgotten someone else, but this is one that one of our deputy executive directors. Thank you, Mike Aris Mendez. You thought you were going to get away with not having your name in here. Let me know, it reminded me that we did forget to mention Miss Debbie Hawkins, along with Jackie Rivia, in around February, I believe. She too was appointed supervisor for legal assistance. So we just wanted to acknowledge that accomplishment as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Winston. Ron Jemison, presiding officer. Thank you, Ms. Rebecca. And
yes, sir. It's very nice to see you guys virtually, and I'm sure Ms. Hatch probably enjoyed not driving in from Alpine this morning. We're all still getting used to it too, so I really appreciate everybody working with us.
Very well. Thank you. Ron Jemison, presiding officer. So, Rebecca, actually, we have Education and Examination Division, Rebecca Armis.
Good morning, Presiding Officer and advisory board members. My name is Rebecca Armas. I'm with the Education Examination Division. It is wonderful to see everybody. I'm wishing that we were here all together, but I will settle for seeing everybody here and happy and healthy, and it's good to see everyone. I'm here to provide our report today. As you'll see, we've got some statistics on our curriculum approvals and the examination statistics, but on the second page is what I kind of wanted to focus a little bit on, was the end of the fiscal year. There on the bottom right there, you'll see in that little box, we ended up a little strong as far as the written examination goes. We were up a little bit. We're at the 47%, where, you know, we're teetering at 40, and then we've gone up to 47. So I'd say we're moving in the right direction as far as preparation and success in the written examination. It's always good to see when we're moving in that direction, in a positive direction, as far as getting the students prepared and, you know, having them pass on the first try. That way they're ready to go and get their license and be ready to make some money. I'd also wanted to share, as you know, we've had some rule changes go into effect that greatly affect your industry. So just wanted to touch on a few things. As we know now, the reduction of hours went into effect on September 1st. However, we were preparing way in advance for this. We knew this was coming. We started in May with some announcements going out and giving everybody that option in Shears to enroll their students in that 1,000-hour program to start everything going. We've got everybody, you know, on board as far as getting schools ready to go for their approvals. And what they look like is we've got some new certificates as well. So you've got your approval now. There's no need, you know, if you have this colored certificate for private schools and community colleges, you are all set to go. This is the green approval certificate that you'll be getting. If for any reason you are not able to enroll in Shears, or you have not received this, you'll need to send an email to Shears, because that means that you haven't provided us with the statement with your approval application that you are now approved to teach this 1,000-hour program. For high schools, we're still going to stay with the blue certificate. So this will be something that folks see. What I wanted to also just kind of touch on was our COVID response as a division. As you know, we're in unprecedented times. Right now, everything is virtual. So we allowed for 100% training online for all schools. And it's definitely a challenge, but we understand that we've got some amazing instructors and staff out there that are willing to work with the students and get everybody the instruction that you need. If you have any questions for that, please feel free to reach out to Shears and we'll be able to answer anything that you need for us. And another thing in response to COVID, what we did was we're working with our third-party vendor because as everybody knows, our exam vendor, just like everyone else, we had to shut down for a few months. So that created a little bit of a backlog. So what we've done is we've worked with our third-party vendor, PSI, to open up some availability. Now they can't operate at 100% because we're not open up at 100% as a state. However, with limited capacity, we've been able to ask them to utilize some third-party sites. So get some of our written folks in and out of there a lot quicker, where we can get more people serviced. And we are also constantly working with our third-party vendor to see other avenues of ways to get everybody tested because the ultimate goal is to get everybody licensed and working again. And that is about all that I have at this time. One last thing I did want to share is, as your education liaison, I am still here for you. Unfortunately, I can't go visit you in person. However, we can do virtual school visits, virtual meetings. I am happy to do this with anyone. Just, do the same thing. You'll just send in that site visit request form. We'll arrange for a virtual meeting, and I'll be more than happy to meet with you. And that's all I have in my report today.
Thank you, Ms. Armis. Any questions for Ms. Armis today from the board? Okay. Ms. Rebecca, Ron Johnson, presiding officer. Is it your department or Ms. Lopez that has anything to do with the actual license coming to the student, the graduate test? After they take their exam and pass the practical, that time frame after it's paid for to actually receive that license, which department is that?
That's our licensing division.
That's licensing division. Okay. All right. All right. Well, thank you. I have no further questions.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for that report. Okay. Well, moving right along, we have.
I'm sorry, Mr. Jemison. We have Yvonne from our licensing division online if you'd like to ask her your question.
Okay. Yes, I know it had slipped my mind, Ms. Lopez, earlier when you were reading your report, but I did want to ask about that time frame as far as when a graduate finishes their practical exams, which is the second portion of the exams, and that time period has there been any delays since COVID has happened, taking place, the pandemic, in receiving that license? And what is the typical time frame of that person receiving their actual license?
There is currently a 60-day delay for any mail-in applications. However, if the student went to school here in Texas, they cannot, sorry. I was going to say they could apply online, but that option is not available for barbers, unfortunately.
Okay, so it's mailed in, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. And so after it's mailed in, you said about 60 days?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. I thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We do have people from other divisions that are assisting us. So we've got them focusing on the student applications, renewals, certification letters. Those are the easier applications to process. So the student applications are also, once they've completed their written and practical examinations, those applications, if they send in the coupon that gets mailed out to them, those are being processed by those people as well, the ones that are helping us.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you notice a rise in numbers? I know we just read the report in statistics. Did you notice an influx of applications coming in during this time, or was it just about the standard amount?
It's been about the same amount as usual. So not having those two positions filled is kind of hurting us.
No problem. Okay. All right. Well, I think it's a good thing to have a lot of applications, though. But,
Yeah. Yeah, and
Thank
our
you.
main goal is to get people licensed. So I've got my staff processing solely. We did have people coming into the office that were scanning in applications so that our work can continue and so that we can get those applicants licensed.
As soon as possible,
So
yes.
yeah, and we've kind of shifted some things to where none of my staff is coming in to scan applications and everybody is processing. We have other staff within the licensing division that are assisting us with scanning those
With
applications
scanning.
in. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Well, glad to hear y'all working on it. And I know everything has been a change for everyone. So
Yes, it
we
has.
really appreciate the work on it. Because I know the public wanted to hear some of that, those questions answered. So it was a concern we had as well. And so I just wanted to reach out and see which department and also what we're doing to work on that to get better. Okay.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you very
Thank
much,
you.
Ms. Lopez. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to, looks like the staff force for Regulatory Program Management Division. Looks like we're going to call on our retiree, Ms. Marinella LaFleur and Jerry Gonzalez.
I'll be giving the report. Good morning. My name is Marinella LaFleur, and I'll be giving the staff report for the Regulatory Program Management. As we all know, Elizabeth retired August 31st, 2020. She began working for TDLR when the regulation of barbering was transferred. She worked for the state of Texas for over 43 years. Her knowledge and dedication to the program was admirable, and she will be deeply missed. Our current projects that we have now, staff recently participated in a bill that was implemented, which was House Bill 2847, that provided for the regulation of remote service businesses and digital prearranged remote services. A remote service business is any type of business that enables a client to schedule a prearranged remote service with a person who holds a barber license. The allowable services may be offered to customers are limited. App or website that's operated by a remote service business, although the scheduling may happen through an online enabled system. TDLR does not license remote service business, and any person or business, whether licensed by TDLR or not, may operate a remote service business. We've developed dedicated web pages for consumers and businesses that can be found on the right-hand menu of the cosmetology website. Jerry and I are maintaining a list of the businesses that notify TDLR of their intent to provide digital prearranged remote services. The data will be used for internal monitoring and regulatory purposes. Staff has been involved in the development of the new Texas licensing system. We've also been assisting licensing with processing applications. During COVID pandemic, RPM staff has been able to attend several conferences and hair shows due to cancellations, including the Image Expo, which would have taken place in May, Texas Industrial Vocational Association, TIVA, that took place in July, Armstrong McCall Hair Show in September. Staff has been assisting Education and Examination Division with school outreach and updates. And if you are aware of any outreach opportunities that we may be able to attend virtually, please contact Jerry Gonzalez. And that concludes my report. If anyone has any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Ms. LaFleur. Any questions from the board? Okay.
Okay.
All right, Ms. LaFleur, thank you very much for your report.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. Ron Jemison, presiding officer. We are moving right along to field inspections divisions, which is Mr. Fernando Reyes.
Good morning, Chairman. My name is Fernando Reyes. I am the South Region Manager for the Field Inspections Division, and I'll be providing this morning's staff report. Before I begin, I want to echo what everybody else has said today in respect to my sincerest appreciation for BB and Marinella. They have been a guiding resource and in what we do in field inspections and how we do things and how we look at things. I know in myself, whenever I have a question, she's the first person I call, either one of them, whoever picks up the phone first for us. And so I know the rest of I want to express the rest of our division. You're going to be greatly missed, you two, exceptional people. Again, I can't speak enough about you guys. Thank you for your service, and I thank you for everything you've done to help us out here at TDLR.
Very good.
There was a slight last-minute change to our report, the order of our report regarding the current projects. This was combined with our COVID-19 response and our virtual inspections, and I'll touch on that a bit later. We replaced it with our most common violations found. If you'll look at the first portion of it, statistics, we have our 2019 and 2020. This is through fiscal year 2020. And as you can see on the right-hand side, inspections dropped considerably in the month of March into April and May. Moving through those, also we have and those included barber schools as well in those statistics.
Okay.
Do you have any questions on those statistics?
Ron Jemison, presiding officer, any questions from the board? Okay, you can continue, Mr. Reyes.
Okay. Again, we're going to continue with the most common violations, and these are for facilities and schools. I want to remind you that these are violations as a result of an inspection and not to what, the ones that Mrs. Burkhalter outlined from enforcement earlier. These are strictly as a result of an inspection. Your 1 through 10s, failing to store or clean implements, things like that. Number 6, failed to post individual licenses, and rounding out the top 10, failure to display a copy of the sanitation rules or barber book. And then I'll go into the barber school. Again, failure to maintain an album in alphabetical order at the top of the list. And number 5, failure to post an instructor license in view or in conspicuous place. And rounding out that is the failure to have a container large enough to immerse your tools. So these are all common violations that we usually find. I wouldn't say they were on the serious spectrum, but they are.
Okay.
Before I move on to the COVID-19 response, I want to commend the industry for adjusting to our process through this whole time. I think it shows the resiliency of this program and its licensees, and I thank them wherever they may be listening to us, and thank you all. We've had a lot of adjustments, during this pandemic time in our response to the current situation. We suspended inspections back in March of 17, and that was for every program that we did across the state in response to the COVID pandemic. We went back, we looked at our training, we developed the training, and then we started training our inspectors, first and foremost, to keep themselves safe, as well as the licensee. And we went through that training. Each of those inspectors got training on how to do that, how to prepare themselves in the morning, during what they're doing in inspections, if they're on site, and then when they come home even, and then, recommendations or guidance when they get to the house. We distributed also PPE equipment to those inspectors. And then we started inspections in June on a limited basis, doing on-site inspections. Not only were we operating under the restrictions of the health and safety concerns, but we also had to keep in mind a budget restriction as well. And that's a big part of what we do, our travel. In response to these concerns, we implemented a virtual inspection program, or a process, I should say, for some barber and cosmetology schools and businesses. And right now, we're currently in the process of drafting SOPs for other programs in reference to the virtual inspections. Like I said before, I want to commend the industry for accommodating this. We received a good response so far in this process, and we've done quite well. We've gone a long way in a short period of time. For our inspections, our virtual inspections completed, if you'll see in the graph, it's for the May 19th out to September 4th. barbershops 148, barber schools 44, and total virtual inspections 192. So we are moving quite along, and I'm sure the number has updated in a month since this report was provided to you. As more inspectors get used to doing it, they become a lot more efficient with licensees and how to direct them and how to go through an inspection and what to look for. And I think it was a learning process on both ends. But again, I think it's something now where everybody's kind of getting used to it, and they're really taking taking to the virtual process, and our inspectors are doing quite well, offering that to them as well. A bit of an overview on it. And in the virtual inspections, we coordinate with that licensee, we reach out to them, that owner, that manager, that representative at the inspection site, and then at that time we confirm that they have access to the technology, whether it be the platform that we're going to use, video calling, FaceTime or something like that, or Google Duo, or whatever we decide to use. And during that inspection, the inspector will contact that person, and quickly they'll go over the exterior. We even have a method in our SOP to how they pan the area from left to right to try to gather as much information as they can. How they enter the business, of course, while keeping the representative on the phone informed at all times to kind of guide them and step by step. You'd be amazed at how many things you have to tell somebody what to do and how to look for, and because when you're talking, and you've probably done it too, you've shown something to somebody and not even paying attention, and well, I didn't quite catch that, and then we respectfully, well, can you go back to something or cover something else, or I missed something, can you go back to that point in the inspection? Our inspectors are trained to just kind of see it really quick, and then identify it. If not, ask questions and then guide that licensee or that representative through the inspection. Periodically, they'll stop and they can verify postings, get a close view on equipment, and take photos, which are screenshots if necessary for a certain violation or another. At the completion of the inspection will identify the findings with the proof of inspection. We'll provide a digital proof of inspection to that person. And we do put, that they do not have to sign the inspection. And then they discuss anything. And then at that point, they'll provide the education to the licensee, go over the entire process with them, make sure that they understand what's going to be on the POI. And then at the conclusion, they will provide that POI by email, which has worked out quite well. We've had some hurdles or some challenges with people who don't even possess a printer or something like that, and we can mail those things out. We have a process set up for that. We mail out that POI, they get it. If they don't have a certain posting, a complaint sign, or human trafficking, something like that, we'll get it to them, and in PDF form. That way they can have it hard copy, a tangible copy in hand. And I think that's pretty much it on our virtual process. If there are no questions, I think we'll wrap it up.
All right, Mr. Reyes. Any questions from anybody on our board? All right. Well, Mr. Reyes, I know it's been some adjustments. I think I had one. I did. Right. But it was pretty cool. It was cool. It was different. Yes. Yeah. I felt like I was doing the work as an inspector, but it's okay. Yeah. Walking around my building, but it's all right. I had to get the exercise anyway, so it's cool. Yeah. We're all adjusting, and it's awesome to see TDLR adjusting on the fly and getting this, and where we can actually keep producing and keep being productive, and that's the important part. So I know that y'all were pulling Brian's beard out, not his hair. Yeah, I think it was his beard. I mean, somebody had to be pulling on it, because when the screen popped up, man, I was like, man, we got a Santa Claus up in here. He's trying to win a contest. Well, Ron Jemison, presiding officer, we want to welcome Mr. Brian Francis to the meeting. Appreciate it. And thank you, Mr. Reyes, for that report.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Well, he popped on right on time, but we got other people that I guess you're going to oversee, but it look like we're ready for the executive office report from Mary Winston and David Gonzalez.
Good morning, presiding officer Jemison and board members. So Mary did the beginning. I'm going to do the finish and close out strong, hopefully, with the executive report. I'm the Deputy Executive Director of Licensing Services. I'm one of 3 DEDS, Deputy Executive Directors, that help Brian Francis with the executive division with our 40 programs at TDLR. want to make sure to remind the public how important the advisory board feedback has been to our agency's success. So I want to thank you on the record for your continued volunteer service. Even though you don't have to travel so far anymore, this face-to-face is a new world for us. And in fact, I think we've talked about it in-house. The engagement, everybody's looking at each other's faces. We're having to learn a little bit of new technology. I think it's added a new realm of communication. So definitely appreciate the participation. Last time we saw this group was in mid-February, and a lot has happened since then. This is all pre-COVID, staying home and having to work from home. So in regards to COVID, most are learning as we go. You heard from some of our staff reports. We've been experimenting. Appreciate, Mr. Jiminson, that you allowing that virtual inspection to happen, because the primary focus of our efforts has been to keep people safe. And interaction, obviously a high point. We want to try to reduce that interaction as much as possible. There you go, loving the mask. It's been a challenge for us, but we are exploring new things, and there's no doubt we're not going to be the same after COVID. It's really challenging us to think differently, and we're going to be doing our business differently going forward, including things like this that saves travel time for our volunteer advisory board members. So it's hard to compile everything in the 7 months of 2020, but I'm going to try by dividing it into two categories. So we have an external response to the public. Most of that you will have seen on our COVID-19 on our main page. I'll use a term that we have in our electricians program, conduit. So we have been the conduit of information for the feds, for the CDC, DSHS, all the local municipalities, the counties. We've been trying to compile all that information, including the governor's executive orders, reviewing it ourselves, seeing how it affects each of our programs, and putting that information out on our website. Doing the best that we can to maintain those communications and follow plans to reopen Texas. As you know, and as we reported, we temporarily halted the inspection investigation, kind of opened that back up a little bit, trying to explore different ways. We had to curb our outreach efforts. Trade shows aren't a very popular thing right now. At proximity things are a big deal, and I was actually disappointed we didn't get to go to the Armstrong McCall coming up and those other shows, because that's where we have the interaction with the trades. We had to develop after the shutdown in March. The governor was thinking about opening things up for barbers and cosmetologists, but there was some discussions, some concerns about how we're going to do it and do it safely. We were helpful in that, and we coordinated with the governor's office so that it could happen in May. PSI and examinations, especially those practical examinations in persons. That was a big deal for our education examination division to coordinate. So I just want to give kudos to all of our division staff, including our IT staff that allowed us to work from home. They had to ramp up so that we could actually still get the work done and be as productive as possible. That's our internal response. That's the second part of our response. External was getting the information out to our public. The internal response is making sure we can continue our work. And that was really due to our IT section. Our HR division has had to field multitudes of questions from our staff, because a lot of our staff are having to conduct schooling from home. They're having health conditions. Our staff are not immune to being sick or having caught COVID. We've had some of those staff. We've had to clean our offices. We've had to go to protocols to take temperatures, have check-ins, make sure there's rotations of people. We have not been immune to the challenges, and so you may see some time delays come up with our mailroom processing, getting our monies through, getting it to the licensing so that they can process applications and review those applications timely. There's no doubt we've done better work, but these COVID times have challenged us all, and just appreciate y'all's patience in dealing with those issues. But as noted by our staff, we have been getting help from other divisions that have gotten a little bit lighter on the load when we had some downtime for our inspections, because the inspections were halted. They were volunteering staff to help us, really repositioning people and resources so that we can get the work done as best we could. Any questions related to COVID-19 response? Concerns, issues?
Ms. Jenny Hatch.
I just want to say how grateful I am to TDLR for responding so well, for being there and quickly handling the situation. Getting those guidelines as a business owner was so helpful for me. I have seen businesses just trying to come up with their own guidelines before we had any specific state mandated things, and people would get upset about those requirements that businesses were angry. And with me, all I had to say was, these are the guidelines put down from the state, and this is what we're doing. If you want to come in here, this is how we're able to be open. And people felt safe in there. And it was just so helpful not to have to come up with those on my own. And I just want to say how much I appreciate that and what a great job that was.
Ms. Hatch, thank you very much for that. That was not easy. Between the CDC guidelines, the governor's orders for open Texas or plan to open Texas, that was some hard work. So we appreciate that acknowledgement, because some work did go into that. All right, if there's no other questions related to COVID-19, I'm going to move on to our strategic plan. All right, so those of you that have been with the agency for quite a few years understand how seriously we take the strategic planning process. We typically travel the state, pick cities to have people come in, and we have that handshaking and interaction. We weren't able to do that. And this was happening just before, just after y'all's meeting is when we were going to go into our strategic planning. We had to do our sessions virtually. It was the first time that we'd done the entire thing virtually, and it was a great success. We actually had a great contingent from Bar Cause Industries participate, along with a few other programs, as far as the virtual processes and them offering their input via poll everywhere. We also put those questions, if you were king or queen for a day, if there's things that we can do better, we put that on our website, and still gathered all the feedback that we're used to gathering. That information goes into our strategic plan, which is every 2 years state mandated process. It's our game plan. If you ask our boss, who's a big sports fan, it's the game plan for our agency. And if you read nothing else, if you want to know what we're going to be doing for the next 2 years, you would go to that strategic plan, which can be found under agency reports on our website. It actually tells you what our plans are for goals, including planning for the next pandemic or disasters. We also are going to fixate on taking care of whatever comes out of the sunset process, which is the next agenda item to talk about. But that strategic plan gives you really a summary of everything we're planning on doing. So it's important, if you want to know what's going on with our agency, that you review that plan. Any questions related to the strategic plan or the process?
Any questions, board? Okay.
All right, next to sunset. I expect that all of you are aware of our sunset process, started last year. They really rolled up their sleeves. They embedded themselves with us at times. They were there for our examination development. They were there in meetings. They showed up to advisory board meetings. Some smart people looking at all of our processes. They've had some findings, and they have issued a report back in June. We embrace the process at TDLR. This is something that makes us better. I will tell you that we went many years without sunset because of the growth in our agency. And I think we kind of missed out on some opportunities during those time periods. We just kept on growing because of other agency sunsets. But that sunset process determines whether or not a program is going to continue or our agency is going to continue. If you're familiar with the report that they issued in June, on June 4th, they did make recommendations that would affect y'all's business. We've already had some rule changes related to the hours, but they're actually proposing consolidation potentially. I want to make sure y'all understand these are recommendations, and this is Sunset's report. This report will go before the legislature, and they can adopt some, all, or none of the recommendations. One of the recommendations they made was to continue our agency. So we're hoping that one goes through, but there's no guarantees. This is going to go in a hearing before the legislature, and they're going to decide what moves forward and what does not. There is still an opportunity for y'all to provide public comment. Our executive director and our agency has already provided our response. I know many of the advisory board members have been to that Texas Sunset.gov website and provided input. But if you have not read their findings, you still have an opportunity to provide input. They actually scheduled a hearing in September for us, but it got canceled. They were still working through their logistics on how they were going to handle these pandemic times and getting everybody in a room together to discuss it. They had a few hearings recently on September 23rd. So if you wanted to see what it looked like, you can actually go to the House of Representatives video archives and see how they ran theirs. It was very professional. In fact, we're going to be taking some notes from that. To my knowledge, we have not gotten a replacement date for our hearing, but I suspect there's going to be quite a few people interested in providing public testimony. So keep abreast. You can go to our website or go to their website to try to find out when those dates are going to happen. We're kind of on the edge of our seat trying to make sure we're going to be prepared as well. Miss Mary, is there anything I've forgotten in Sunset or strat plan, any of those things that I need to remember to tell everybody?
Thank you, David. You covered everything. I do see that our boss is here, Mr. Francis, and if he would like to provide color commentary, now would be a perfect time to do that, sir.
Thank you, Mary. David, great job. Chairman Jemison, board members, it's great to see you. This is the work we still have to do in these different times, and it's just amazing to see how organizations continue to thrive. David, I do want to correct you on just one thing. You did a great job on the presentation, but to walk through the order of events, what we have out there now is the Sunset Staff Report. That staff report goes to the Sunset Commission for that commission to make decisions, and then the commission's final decisions will go to the legislature. So there is still a step. There's still a step at the sunset process for the barbering industry to make their concerns or their ideas known. Keep in mind, it's not just a matter of saying, "Oh, we don't want this." The sunset process is also an opportunity for you to say, "We would like more of this." Don't think it as just one street saying, "Oh my gosh, everything they put in there I don't want." You can add to it. If there are things that have, Jenny, that have been nagging at you for years in the statute, this is the opportunity to elevate those ideas to the Sunset Commission. The concepts of changing the report is called a modification. And so think about the report being the base and the starting point. And to change what the staff has recommended, you simply say, I want to modify an existing item. I want to modify the doing away of instructors by keeping the instructors. It's a modification that you're making to the report. But if there's something brand new, that's still also a new item or modification that should be brought to the Sunset Commission's attention. This is a fluid process. It's a fluid process not only in normal times, but in COVID times, it's truly a fluid process. People are trying to get their bearings and how to navigate this moment. I will say this without hesitation. The barbering industry has really acquitted itself well. You look at comments that have been received, the volume of comments from the barbering industry, they've been fantastic. When you look at the number of barbers that comment and participate during our commission meeting during this time, the barbers have been represented.
Brian? Mary Winston here. Brian has gone mute. We don't know why. He was saying something wonderful, but we're just seeing the beard, and I don't know if we can get him back. I want to second that, what he was saying. I can't say it as eloquently, I'm sure. You were
He
still
can hear
muted.
us. I think he can hear us.
He
but
can
we can't
hear
him.
us. He can hear us. Thumbs up. We can't hear him. And I know that he was just, he's bowing out graciously. I know he was just reiterating the participation of the barber community during this process. And added in that color commentary was that we're just at one step of the process. We have the next step of the process, and there's still time to participate. This is the staff report. They did a fantastic job. They were here and we opened the doors, and we did not expect sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns to fly over us, and nor did they. We do appreciate the recommendation to continue for 12 years, and the things that they have requested that we change and that be changed by the legislature will go forth as a consideration, but also as a consideration, those public comments, those things that your program and the public have to say to add to that report. And I do see Brian possibly can speak again now. If not, let's see. Say something, sir. Nope, can't do it. So David's gonna our dad wants to jump in here. Thank you, David.
Somebody probably just keep on turning off his microphone. This is David Gonzalez with TDLR. I want to thank our boss for making sure that clarification was made because it's an important clarification. We don't want to cheat anybody out of the opportunities to making a difference in what's being considered at the legislative level. Also, did a disservice. I need to acknowledge our other Deputy Executive Director, Ms. Christina Kaiser, was charged with actually following up on some of the management actions, and she's actually been able to make progress even before sunset is being reviewed and even before hearings, to make progress on some of the good ideas that we didn't even have to go and wait for a legislative session. If it's just a management action, things that we can enact because it's a good idea, she's already been working on that and make progress. So that's to her credit and to the commitment that our executive director has made, that this is supposed to be a good process for us. We can be better because of it, because they're finding things that we can improve upon. And if we acknowledge it, we're going to be a better agency. So thank you. And that's all I have to report, oh, except for the numbers. Ms. Anna, do you have the numbers for our outreach and statistics? So as you know, we do all of our communications through our website. So if we're doing a good job, you should see a lot of hits. If you're a very popular program with the industry that we serve, you're going to have a lot of hits. Over the past 6 months, from April to September, the Barber's website had 102,452 views on an average of 560 per day. That's a phenomenal number. Obviously, some of our bigger numbers come from Bar Cause industry. 24% of those visitors accessed the site from a desktop. 74% did it from a smartphone. That's a really high number for smartphones, but that's what our whole world is coming to. That phone is our new computer on the run. Top reasons for visiting the site: frequently asked questions, forms and publications, administrative rules, barber law, and exam information. Now, this is the data that we have straight from our website, and our IT guys bring it to us. If there's things you think we can improve upon as far as where we put our information, how we get it out there so that we can see a better use of the information that we're putting out there, let us know. This is the feedback. This is why we provide the feedback, because there may be something that we can do differently to make things better. So if you have some ideas, just let us know. And that's all I have for the executive report.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Gonzalez, for that report, and the whole team of the executive team as well. This is Ron Jemison, Jr., presiding officer, and it was really refreshing to hear the participation for the barber industry has improved. That was something that I know that our board, we talk about all the time as board members, that, you know, we have a great passion to increase those numbers and to increase the participation of the barber industry. Way above it. So that is really some good news to hear, that people are actually really concerned about the industry and the career that they have set forth to obtain. And that's promising going forward as well. We have any questions from the board members for the executive office before we move forward? Okay. All right. All right. Mr. Francis, is your mic still mute? Want to try it again? Yep, you're still muted. I think we just wanted to show off the beard. That's all good. All right. So quarantine has done some good things to you. I like that. That's the barber industry, man. That's what we do. We're here to groom. We groom. Just keep pulling. Like my son, he got that one hair right now. He's starting to do this all the time. Like, yeah, he got that one. Well, if he looks at his father, he knows he's not going to get the Francis beard for sure. We don't have to worry about shaving over here. Well, everyone, we want to move on because we've been here for a couple of hours now. Any recommendations for the next agenda items for the board meeting? That'll be agenda K, item K. So anybody have any recommendations for agenda items for the next meeting? I know we talked a little bit about, Ms. Anna, you might need to help me out with this. I know we talked a little bit about the time frame of the life. Go ahead, Mr. Gonzalez, I'm sorry.
I was just going to make sure y'all know the executive report's going to be on there and include any updates on sunset, strategic planning as well. All those things will be on there. So that's definitely going to be on the agenda, as well as all of our staff reports. That's a regular. For sure. And there's no information updated on the hearing. Is that correct, Dave? Mr. Gonzalez? We don't have a date at this time. As soon as we get one, it will be posted on our website, and we will get it to our board members as well. Okay. And just so I can reiterate, I think you did say that there is still time to make comments. Correct? David Gonzalez, TDR. Yes, that is correct. There is still time. There's still public comment available on their website.
Okay, sounds great. All right. Ron Jemison, presiding officer, as I was stating, for the recommendations for the agenda, I know we were talking a little bit about the time for the license, that people were receiving a license after they passed the exam. Is it fair that we can put that on there as far as a discussion about that?
We can have that on the agenda. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Maybe like a temporary license until the license comes in or something like that, so they can, because the idea is for them to go to work legally. So we don't want to risk anything. Miss Jenny, please. Miss Hatch.
Hey, this is Jenny Hatch. I was wondering if we could get a report from the enforcement work group on, we had talked about last time discussing the statutory restriction getting their licenses.
See, I missed part of that.
Okay, at the last meeting, can you hear me? I requested that we add to a future meeting and on the agenda a discussion about restrictions for people with criminal records getting licenses. And I think that was being put to the enforcement work group. And so I was hoping for a report from the enforcement work group on that issue.
Okay. Okay. All right, we got that in. We good? Okay.
Thanks.
All right, thanks, Ms. Hatch. James, did you have anything to add? You good?
No, I don't have anything.
All right. Thanks for your participation, sir. It's always good to see you. All right. Well, moving on to agenda item L. Let's get a date. Anna, since we're virtual, it looks like we can get dates a little easier. I don't have to book any hotels. Jenny don't have to drive 50,000 miles. I was trying to stay at the Francis Inn. Since he made that announcement. What was that, early this year he made that announcement? Which I haven't been able to stay there yet. I don't understand that, but I saw the announcement go out. I did. And I could have sworn I was like I had a wing, like the West Wing or something at the White House. I was like, wow, I got a wing now. So I don't have to worry about staying at the Dewdrop Inn when I come down there for $49.95. I'm gonna be paid up. Bed and breakfasts, baby. For our volunteer services that we do, right? Mr. Gonzalez.
David Gonzalez, TDLR. So, Chairman, you might consider allowing Anna to poll the group. Wait till after the Sunday hearing. We're hoping to have one. You might consider that, unless there's some other business. We can always get information out to you earlier than that and poll earlier if something comes up, and y'all can request agenda items between now and then as well. But maybe we wait till after the sunset hearing where we'll have something more to report.
Sounds good. Anybody else on that? As far as the next meeting date? Anna, we're gonna wait till we get some reports from you guys, and I'm sure we'll be touching base to see when our next meeting can be confirmed.
Yes, sir.
After Cosmo. Let me not throw them to the wolf on that yet. After my Cosmo department. Since they get the late meeting, we get the early meeting sometime, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, the Texans won last night, and I'm sorry. Did everybody see my shirt? I know we didn't win, Brian. Did everybody see the shirt? I had to stand up because somebody was texting me and they said they couldn't see it, but you see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I just wanted everybody to know that I'm ready, and our school is ready. All of our students are rocking the vote. We got our barber mask going on. Y'all saw it, right? I'm not selling anything. It's all good. Barber, we represent. So we're Jenny said it earlier. Ms. Hatch said it earlier. She said, thank y'all for those great guidelines that y'all gave us. So we're taking temperatures, we're doing this stuff all at the front and asking the questions before everybody comes in. It's amazing that the students, I could just talk for myself, for our organization, that, man, the students have really been adhering to the rules with no problem. Actually, they encourage it. I hear a lot of people say that, they've gone to some establishment and they haven't seen some of the things practiced. And I'm not just talking about the barbershop industry. I'm talking about all any place that they go to. And for them to come in the lobbies of the barber establishments and see, that they are practicing, that we're practicing our guidelines and the safety, it definitely, to echo Ms. Hatch's sentiments, that it definitely plays a big part in the safety and consumers of our consumers and our staff. And so, you know, having face-to-face compared to doing online, we've done both. But I think the opportunity for schools to make that decision has been very good. Also, the guidelines for shops to open up, because you know everybody was going, we were all going berserk with how many days we were going to be out of work, and so to be able to service the individuals comfortably, and I see the new rule that was adapted, I guess last year, at the beginning of this year, as far as with the remote services. I probably have some more questions on that because I did hear something today that did spark my attention. But I have to get my words together how I asked that question. But definitely that's going to be it's time. It's amazing that the time of that rule, how it just came effect right before, and we didn't know a pandemic was going to happen, and all of a sudden here we go, and now some remote services can go can happen in a different way than having a mobile barbershop, as far as with the restroom and the running water and all that kind of stuff that we had to have before. So we see that the industry's moving and staying abreast with the time of the world changing. You know, I know that we can still do some more things to improve. We want to thank everybody's participation out there, and we encourage the barber industry to always, if you have any questions or concerns, please come to the next meeting and post your or state your comment that you have. Fill out the forms that you have to fill out. Anna does a great job with getting all that information out to the public, and we really appreciate that. For all the retirees that are not that are gonna be off in La La Land doing the good things in life, fishing and sitting back and don't have to clock in, which is great. We wish y'all best of luck, and man, your service for the industry and for the state of Texas has been great. And we really appreciate y'all time here, Ms. Marinella and Ms. BB. And to all the honorees that we had today, it looks like we had a birthday with Mr. Lewis. We had Ms. Frazier's passing, a great legendary person in the barber industry with a school, and Mr. Juan, which is Johnny Garcia in South Texas. Man, some great things that you guys, it just lets me know that y'all stay abrupt to what's going on in the industry in the state of Texas. Because when these things happen, of course, social media pops up real quick and we get it, but y'all be right on. Y'all are always right on point with everything. So it's a good thing. Y'all see everything. So I'm not trying to do anything wrong. I know y'all saw my daughter walk by. So you get everything. Sitting home doing school, so it's a new change for us as well. So I'm upstairs. My wife took over my office, and now it's a workout room, so I have no office anymore. So as public, they can walk by, I guess. So anyway, I don't want to keep anybody any longer. If we don't have any more questions or concerns from anybody on this great panel and board and staff and all that good stuff with TDLR, let's adjourn the meeting at 11:30 a.m. Knock it. All right.